What if the thing that hurt you the most was actually the thing trying to grow you the most? We fear it, we avoid it, we resist it. But what if I told you that criticism isn't your enemy? It's your edge. Every great leader, every legend, every revolution began not with applause, but with resistance. Welcome to the Leadership Code, where we unlock the secrets to impactful leadership. Today we're diving into one of the most transformative topics in personal growth: how to turn criticism into your superpower. You have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something, sometime in your life. Winston Churchill. Imagine a rainy afternoon in 1990s New York. A young woman, broke, recently divorced and struggling with depression, walks into a publisher's office clutching a manuscript. This story, about a boy wizard, had already been rejected by 12 publishers. Her name? J.K. Rowling. That story, Harry Potter. She could have quit, could have folded under the weight of rejection, but instead, she reframed it. In her own words, "Some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." Criticism, rejection, dismissal. These words sting because they challenge the one thing we often hold sacred, our identity. They can feel like a brick hitting you in the head. We've heard the stories. People laughed at Oprah Winfrey, rejected Steve Jobs, and told Walt Disney he lacked imagination. But what if I told you that criticism could be your greatest teacher? What if it could build you instead of breaking you? Today we're going to explore exactly that: how to transform criticism into your superpower, a potent driver of growth, leadership, creativity, and self-mastery. This isn't about ignoring negative comments or blindly accepting all feedback. It's about becoming so grounded in your mission and so open to growth that even your harshest critics become unexpected teachers. We'll uncover stories of those who turned wounds into wisdom: Oprah Winfrey, Nelson Mandela, David Goggins, Malala Yousafzai, J.K. Rowling, Steve Jobs, and Walt Disney. We'll also draw reflections from world-renowned books like Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, Brené Brown's Daring Greatly, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, Carol Dweck's Mindset, Don Miguel Ruiz's The 4 Agreements, and Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen's Thanks for the Feedback. Let's begin, not with silence, but with the courage to confront the noise. Let's turn wounds into wisdom. Let's unlock your hidden edge. Part 1. Understanding the sting of criticism. Why do we fear criticism so much? It's deeply ingrained. Criticism activates the same pain centers in the brain that are triggered by physical harm. That's why it doesn't just bruise the ego, it bruises the nervous system. From childhood, we're conditioned to associate approval with safety and rejection with danger. So when we're criticized, we don't just hear feedback, we feel a profound threat. In ancient times, being cast out of a group could mean death. Today, it might be a mean online comment, but the primal fear still feels the same. But what is criticism, really? Criticism is feedback, whether verbal or nonverbal, that points out perceived flaws, errors, or areas for improvement. At its core, criticism is a mirror, sometimes distorted, sometimes clean, but it always reflects something: your impact, your gaps, or someone else's projection. There are 2 major types. Constructive criticism. This is rooted in growth and delivered with the intention to help you improve, even if it hurts initially. An example is a mentor suggesting ways to improve your public speaking. Destructive criticism. This type is often rooted in fear, jealousy, or ego, and its aim is to wound or belittle. An example is someone telling you, "You'll never make it in this field, you're just not good enough." The art isn't in blindly accepting or rejecting, it's in discerning what type of feedback you're receiving. The truth is, both types hold value, if you know how to process them. As David Goggins powerfully states, Whatever anyone says about you is not necessarily true. What is true is what you decide to do with it. Psychologist Carol Dweck, in her book Mindset, explains that our fear of criticism often stems from a fixed mindset. In this mindset, criticism is seen as a judgment of your inherent abilities, meaning I'm a failure. However, a growth mindset sees criticism as an opportunity to improve and grow. As Dweck puts it, in a growth mindset, challenges are exciting rather than threatening. Developing a growth mindset means viewing criticism not as a judgment of who you are, but as a window into who you can become. Part 2. The mindset shift, from ego to growth. The first step in transforming criticism is a fundamental mindset shift, from ego to growth. Stephen Covey, in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, highlights proactivity as the first and most crucial habit. Reactive people crumble under criticism, letting emotions dictate their response. Proactive people, however, pause, reflect, and use the feedback. Ask yourself, is there a sliver of truth in this that I can use to level up? Even if it's just 2% truth, can it help you grow? This concept is beautifully encapsulated by Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Criticism is the stimulus. Your choice is the story you tell yourself. Consider the powerful example of Oprah Winfrey. She was famously fired from her first TV job for being unfit for television. Did she shrink? No. She broke through. She didn't internalize that rejection as a personal failure. She chose to reinterpret it as a misalignment and reshaped the entire industry, redefining success on her own terms. Oprah herself advises us to turn your wounds into wisdom. Then there's the Goggins way, as described in his book, Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins famously posted every insult he received on his accountability mirror. This wasn't about shame. It was about challenge. Each negative comment became fuel. He didn't bury his critics. He built from them. He says, "You will never learn from people if you always tap dance around the truth." Brené Brown, in Daring Greatly, speaks to the importance of vulnerability. She famously states, "If you're not in the arena also getting your butt kicked, I'm not interested in your feedback." Criticism hurts most when we link it to shame. Brown's teachings remind us that vulnerability is strength, and showing up beats shrinking every time. Many iconic figures have embodied this mindset. Steve Jobs was publicly fired from Apple, the very company he co-founded, amidst criticism that he was arrogant and difficult. But he used that time to reflect, build Pixar, and return to Apple stronger than ever. He later reflected, "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith." He even called getting fired from Apple the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Nelson Mandela, labeled a terrorist and imprisoned for 27 years, chose not to retaliate. Instead, he turned his pain into power, becoming a global symbol of resilience and peace. His philosophy, I never lose. I either win or learn. Walt Disney was once fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity, and his first animation studio went bankrupt. Yet, he used every setback to fuel his vision, and today, Disney is synonymous with imagination. Part 3. Strategies to turn criticism into strength. So, how do we actively turn criticism into strength? Here are powerful strategies. 1. Pause before reacting. The Frankl moment. When criticism hits, your ego instinctively wants to fight or defend. This is your cue to take that Frankl moment. Create space between the stimulus and your response. Ask yourself, what emotion is this triggering in me? What am I protecting? Does this feedback align with my values or vision? A simple breathing exercise or journaling session can turn an emotional spiral into focused insight. preventing immediate, regrettable reactions. As Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen explain in Thanks for the Feedback, self-observation awakens your prefrontal cortex, which is associated with the pleasure of learning. This mindful pause helps you notice your feedback footprint, your own predictable reactive behaviors, like blaming, crying, apologizing, or going silent. 2. Filter the message from the messenger. Even if the delivery is negative or the messenger has questionable motives, there can still be useful truth in the message. Don't let the tone or your perception of the messenger distract you from potential transformation. Nelson Mandela, for example, mastered the art of distinguishing between political posturing and valuable personal insight. In Thanks for the Feedback, Stone and Heen elaborate on relationship triggers, how our perception of feedback is influenced by who is giving it. We might dismiss feedback based on the giver's credibility, trustworthiness, or skill in delivering it. However, they emphasize that even if the giver is jealous or mean-spirited or totally nuts, their feedback might still be dead right. The key is to separate the content from your feelings about the giver. Surprisingly, even strangers can deliver powerful, unfiltered feedback because they lack the complex history that can block feedback from loved ones. 3. Seek your truth-tellers. Beyond just supporters, actively surround yourself with challengers, people who love you enough to tell you where you're blind. As Imam Ali wisely put it, your friend is he who tells you the truth, not he who always agrees with you. Simon Sinek also advises us to surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just cheer for you. Zig Ziglar adds, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it yourself. Implement regular feedback loops, whether through anonymous polls or one-on-one reflections. These honest mirrors are crucial, especially when others are hesitant to share critical feedback. Instead of asking for general feedback, try, what's one thing you see me? Practice the feedback framework, the 4 R's. This simple framework can guide your interaction with criticism. Receive without defensiveness. Listen to understand, not to rebut. Reflect with honesty. Examine the message for truth, even if it's painful. Reframe what's useful. Identify the actionable insights. Respond with refinement. Take action based on what you've learned. Thanks for the Feedback stresses the importance of first understand. Feedback often comes in vague labels, too enmeshed, more assertive. Our natural tendency is to wrong spot, immediately assuming the feedback is incorrect because it doesn't align with our view. Instead, shift to different spotting. Ask clarifying questions to understand the giver's data, what they observed, and their interpretation, the story they made from it. Ask, can you give me an example? And, what did that mean to you? Also, clarify where the feedback is going. Is it advice or an evaluation with consequences? Reclaim your story. I am evolving. Criticism isn't condemnation, it's correction. This mindset helps you build emotional anti-fragility, the ability to grow stronger under stress. Your identity or self-story significantly impacts how you metabolize feedback. A fixed identity assumes your traits are unchanging, making criticism a direct threat. A growth identity, championed by Dweck, sees you as ever-evolving, ever-growing. Challenges become opportunities, and feedback becomes valuable information for learning. To cultivate this growth identity, sort toward coaching. Even when feedback is evaluative, a grade, a ranking, try to hear it as coaching, an opportunity to learn and improve. This lessens the emotional blow and allows you to engage with the content. Unpack judgment from evaluation. When facing direct evaluation, "You didn't get the job," separate the judgment, "I'm a failure," from the actual assessment and consequences. Your reaction to the first score, the evaluation itself, is your second score, your ability to respond with resilience and learn. This second score often matters more for your future success. Dismantle distortions. Our emotions can wildly exaggerate feedback, making a kitten seem like a tiger. Be aware of the Google bias, focusing only on past failures. The not one thing, everything bias, small criticisms becoming all-encompassing. And the forever bias, the future looks bleak. Tools like the feedback containment chart can help you identify, "What is this about?" versus "What isn't this about?" to keep feedback in perspective. 6. Understand your inner critic. Hal and Sidra Stone, authors of Embracing Your Inner Critic, described the inner critic as an alarm system that signals a call for help, rooted in underlying anxiety about pain, shame, or abandonment. It possesses a genius level of intelligence and an unerring ability to magnify your faults. Often it works alongside the pusher, an inner self that constantly drives you to achieve, always moving the goalpost further away. The key is to recognize that it is not I who is critical of me. It is my critic who is critical of me. By stepping back into your aware ego, you can directly talk to your critic using a process like voice dialogue. This allows you to go underneath the critic's criticisms, to understand its underlying fears and vulnerabilities, effectively parenting it instead of being its victim. When the inner critic is transformed, its incredible intelligence becomes an objective, discerning mind that supports your discipline, enhances your authority, and frees your creativity. It even helps you embrace the freedom to be ordinary, lessening the stress of constantly needing to be special. 7. Coach your coach. Surprisingly, your ability to learn is heavily influenced by how you coach your coach, how you engage with those giving you feedback. This doesn't mean telling them how to talk to you, only praise, but collaborating to minimize interference. Share your preferences, your feedback temperament, and the areas you're actively working on. This helps givers tailor their feedback to be most effective for you. 8. Invite them in. Letting someone far enough into your life to help you transforms the relationship. By showing humility and vulnerability, you allow others to step into a supportive role, strengthening your connection. Even when feedback is initially difficult, like with Amy, who felt Ivan was just being a jerk, having a friend like Hank help her sift for truth allowed her to learn. This process of allowing others to be honest mirrors helps you see your blind spots and turn every interaction into an opportunity for growth and deeper connection. Part 4. Cultural and cinematic parallels. The wisdom of transforming criticism isn't new. It echoes through cultures and stories across time. Rumi, the great Persian poet, famously asked, "If you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished?" This beautiful metaphor reminds us that feedback is friction, and friction is precisely what refines us. The most radiant leaders embrace the rub rather than resisting it. In Eastern wisdom, particularly Islamic philosophy, feedback is considered a divine gift. When criticism feels sharp, remember, you are being sculpted, refined into a stronger version of yourself. Cinematic narratives often embody this principle. Think of Batman Begins. Bruce Wayne doesn't become the Dark Knight through praise or comfort. He is forged through pain, loss, doubt, and correction. His mentor challenges his fears, and his enemies test his truth. These struggles temper his purpose and sharpen his edge. As the ancient proverb states, iron sharpens iron. Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani activist, faced brutal criticism and even an assassination attempt for advocating for girls' education. But her clarity of purpose transcended all noise. Today, she is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, proving that criticism becomes small when your why becomes crystal clear. Consider the story of Dr. Becky Smethurst, an astrophysicist and science communicator. She started a YouTube channel, and her first video received only 27 views and 3 mean comments, one calling her boring and another mocking her voice. She almost quit. Instead, she enrolled in a speaking course, rewrote her scripts, and kept going. Today, she has 2 million subscribers. She states, "Criticism was the best thing that happened to me. It made me better." Even pop culture icons demonstrate this. Taylor Swift was often mocked for writing about heartbreak. Instead of stopping, she owned that criticism and transformed it into her signature, becoming a global icon. Similarly, YouTuber Lily Singh faced massive criticism during her transition to late-night TV. Instead of giving up, she leaned into her authenticity, addressed the feedback, and grew her community even stronger. The digital age means criticism is global and instant, but the lesson remains. Learn to distinguish noise from knowledge. Part 5. Action. The 5-day Criticism to Clarity Challenge.
Now, for those ready to turn insight into action, I challenge you to a 5-day Criticism to Clarity Challenge. Here's how you can participate. Day 1. Audit the past. List 3 criticisms that have stuck with you. For each, ask yourself, what did this teach me? Day 2. Rewrite the narrative. Pick one of those criticisms. Reframe it. For example, instead of, "This was rejection," tell yourself, "This was redirection." Day 3. Seek intentional feedback. Ask a trusted friend, mentor, or family member, "What's something I may not see about myself?" Be genuinely open to their honest mirror. Day 4. The Mirror Challenge. Inspired by David Goggins' accountability mirror, write down your greatest fear or a past insult that still stings. Stick it on your mirror. Face it. Recode it. What positive action or growth can you extract from it? Day 5. Act on insight. Take one small, actionable step based on feedback you've received this week. Share it with someone, reflect on the outcome, and celebrate your courage to grow. I encourage all of you to post your reflections in the comments.
Conclusion. Let criticism refine, not define you. Leadership isn't about avoiding judgment. It's about growing through it. As Aristotle famously said, criticism is something you can avoid easily by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. But you, my friend, were not born to do nothing. You were born to build, to elevate, and to impact. William Faulkner wisely noted, "You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore." So lose sight of shallow praise. Swim into the vast ocean of feedback, resilience, and meaning. Let criticism be your compass, not your cage. It's not about silencing your critics. It's about growing so much that their voices become irrelevant because you've surpassed their expectations and your own. Every hero has been doubted, but they didn't stop. Neither should you. Leadership isn't forged in comfort. It's forged in critique, in setbacks, in the silent moments after rejection. Criticism will come, but hear me clearly. You are not the comment. You are not the failure. You are the response. Every time someone doubts you, you're given a choice. Let it dim your fire or let it fuel your rise. Remember this. The world doesn't need more people avoiding criticism. The world needs more people brave enough to grow from it. So the next time someone says, "You'll never make it," don't get quiet. Don't get bitter. Get better. Get louder. Get bolder. If this message resonated with your journey, smash that like button to show you're ready to rise. Hit subscribe to stay aligned with the Leadership Code, your space for bold leadership and personal growth. Share this with someone standing on the edge of quitting. Remind them, the criticism isn't the end, it's the beginning. Drop a comment, What's the most powerful lesson you've learned from criticism? Join the movement, embrace the growth. And as always, stay empowered and keep leading with impact. This is the Leadership Code. See you in the next episode.